area, North Paulding, North Cobb-ish area, and then up 75. So that's where we live. That's where we are.
Perfect. Well, let's dive into this. The way I want to run today's meeting, gentlemen, is let's kind of talk about the overall market and then start diving into more specific stats and local county markets. I got to point out first, if you log into Inman News, a couple of weeks ago, I might have told you all the economists are saying that uh, we're in this hot market. We're expecting it to slowly come down and have a little bit of a slowdown, which would be a great thing at this point in time. But nothing crazy, just like a little bit of a softening. And then you start reading Inman News these days and you start seeing words like bubble trouble and uh, hot sellers market. And the economists are all over the board right now as what's coming in the real estate market. And I'd like to point out if you've been anywhere near a gas station in the last 24 hours, you can imagine what kind of frenzy an economic news could change overnight, right? So we believe the real estate market is really strong. We believe the real estate market is going to stay strong for a period of time. Certainly 2021 is expected to be a great year in real estate. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about pricing and stuff like that. And obviously, at some point in time, the price appreciation that we're all experiencing can't sustain itself long term. It has to slow down on price appreciation. But nonetheless, overall, gentlemen, any comments? What is your feeling about the real estate industry, the market, what economists are saying overall?
We talked about this last month when we hopped on our call, Brett, but people look at our area of town and the state of Georgia and assume that we're just out there. So if it's this busy in Atlanta, we'll just go up to Bartow County. And it's the same up here. It is the same trends. I know Stephen can speak for it more. So that concept and idea of it's different out there, it doesn't hold up. We're running the same game, the same stats that's running down in Atlanta in the city.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, we just sold a portfolio of houses for a client to a, like wholesaling, we buy ugly houses type company, and they paid market value for it. They didn't come in at 80 cents on the dollar. They paid market value for it. So even the investors, they have money just sitting there getting lazy because they can't find a good deal anywhere. But I was looking at our report earlier, and agents are starting to let their sellers get a little out of hand with their pricing. And for the last 3 months, it's been a trend here, at least in Floyd County. Homes are not selling at list price. They're averaging about $10,000 below list price is what they're closing at.
Yeah. So let's dive into that here when we kind of get back to Floyd County. But I think overarching, Stephen, what I'm hearing you say is, um, and we've trained on this for a long time, I would call them acute markets. So if we have a balanced real estate market, it's like 6 months inventory, which I don't remember the last time we were anywhere near a balanced real estate market. But if we went to an acute buyer's market, which would mean 9 months inventory, 12 months inventory, in order to succeed in that kind of market, you've got to be a very strong skills based agent, meaning you got to be up on your game on scripts and dialogues, up on your game on setting expectations, up on your game on just winning the seller listing, because it's just uh, nothing was selling and that kind of thing. And then you flip it to the market we're in today, which is an acute seller's market. It's the same story. It's just a different set of skills. But it's a skills based market, meaning you might think, hey, I put a sign in the yard and I'm going to sell something. Yeah, the reality is that's probably true, but there's so few signs to go in the yard, you're going to be competing and you got to be up on your game and good, right? And to Stephen's point, overpricing actually is a lack of skills, because you're actually hurting your client, and you're letting your client dictate the price instead of consulting your clients to the right price, right? But anyway, we don't want to, this isn't a training class, this is a stats industry update. Matt, any comments real quick before we blow through?
Yeah, so with the Inman article you read, I think it's interesting because I think you clicked on, it was showing trending articles, and Inman put out it's going to be a crash, right? Bubble trouble there 6 days ago. I'm pretty sure the day after they put out an article that said, hey, the housing market's not going to crash. This is why. But it's interesting. Obviously, people follow, what's the scary thing? Everyone looks for the shock factor. Those are clickbaits.
Sure.
Clickbait things.
Of course. And, here you could see, you read on your own that Keller Williams put out, or Inman wrote about how we as a company are we had our best first quarter ever in agent count growth and sales volume growth. And, we're thriving, and yet there's just a little anxiety in the market based on low inventory and can this go on forever, that kind of thing. And then top it off yesterday with everybody's 2-hour wait in line for gas somewhere. They're probably all wondering what's next, right?
Yeah, and just jump into the next conversation we were having, and Stephen and Jeffrey mentioned, it's a skills-based market like no other. And although we're all supposedly making more money, real estate's amazing. At the end of the day, if you look at the real statistics of agent count and production, a lot of people are making more money, but a lot of people aren't. And a lot of people are not taking listings, and a lot of people are finding this market, although it is exhausting, a very great opportunity. And then some are saying, man, I cannot wait till this ends. And I think we know that if you don't develop these skills now, which is what we preach in the scripts and the dialogues and studying actual market statistics, it will drive you out of, just being blunt, drive you out of the industry, just like in 2009 through 11. If you didn't have the skills and go get the current market of the moment, attack that, it drove you out of the business. So I think that's important to mention, that the market looks really good, but there's also a lot of struggle going on. And we're seeing it in our offices as well, as agents just being absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, I'd almost be irritated if I'm seeing, hey, great market, Keller had his best first quarter ever. I had written 6 offers and none of them have got accepted.
Right.
Stop telling me how good it is.
Only 6, right?
Yeah, I'm irritated. Or I haven't listed a house in 2 months.
And we're having those same conversations.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost a shift of, man, you're driving around a $200,000, and just in our market example, $250,000 buyer, and you spent 6 months with them. What energy, refocus, reframing of your plan of action to be successful in this industry can you have for this market of the moment? And can you use that time that you're spending with that current client, because maybe this isn't their market at this moment, and refocus that energy to, hey, going out and getting listings, off market deals, or whatever you have to do to survive. This is not 2019 or 18. This is different. So.
Perfect.
And
go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, and
Jeff,
knowing we keep up with the stats in all the different areas that Heart of Atlanta Group is in, but there is no shame in the game on referral, especially if you're looking at Bartow County, Floyd County, Gordon County, up in these areas. You are going to run yourself ragged. We answer the phone all the time. People, agents, KW agents, help us with pricing. Help us. Is this worth it? What it's priced at? All those kind of things. And I think that's the next conversation in this area is, hey, referral is spectacular. You're going to make some great money off it, and let us help you navigate it from there.
Yeah. And ultimately, this is the conversation of this entire industry is, how do we be a local market expert, right? And that's the whole purpose of us doing these calls. So thank you for bringing that up. All right, couple other things I want to make sure we get out there. Zillow is redefining itself as Zillow 2.0. Why is that important? I think a lot of our agents actually still have relationships with Zillow on lead generation. I know there's a lot of negative talk around that, and some people swear by it. The interesting thing, if you see on this graph, it's the first time Zillow actually turned a profit over the last 3 quarters historically. So they're finding a way to profitability. But here's what you need to know about Zillow and your listings. So in the past, Keller Williams had relationship directly with Zillow, where you would put your listing into what we called our Keller Williams listing service, KWLS, and that data would go straight from there to Zillow. And through that relationship, we could control how Zillow positioned the data on their website. Well, that arrangement's gone away because Zillow is no longer a data aggregator. They're actually a real estate broker, and they're getting their data through a real estate license through the board of realtors, just the same way you do through like an IDX feed. So the good news in there is they're going to be held to the same standards you are on how they present data to the public. And the other part of that news is, just know your listings may look a little different. They would look similar to everybody else's listings at this point, and it's just a necessary situation with our listings in Zillow. We're not overly worried about it. We just want to make sure you're aware of it, because Zillow is shifting their business model a little bit towards what they're calling Zillow 2.0. Not really much else to say. Just be aware of what's going on. That's why these are industry updates. All right, here's the hot topic: lifting the nationwide eviction ban. We've talked about this. It's been out for, I guess, 7 to 10 days at this point. How do you guys see it affecting your areas?
A lot.
Okay, tell me
A
more.
lot. There are for the longest time, this area was a great investment area, and a lot of investment property up here, a lot of renters, a lot of, it's a lower price point, and it attracts a different type of clientele up here, and I think it's going to make a major impact. We're going to start seeing a lot more stuff come on the market when this happens. Our inventory numbers are going to skyrocket.
You see this being a big deal to bringing more listing inventory to Bartow. And I'm seeing Steven shake his head.
A lot of distressed listing. It's gonna be stuff that's in rough shape, especially if it starts being, eviction with the evictions and everything. We have, it'll lead to more houses in the market, and in my opinion, it'll lead to a little bit of drop in prices too, because some of these rentals that are, you can go get a duplex here in Rome or a triplex here in Rome for $85,000. It's not in the greatest shape, and you still go and evict those people because they've been paying rent. They're not going to leave it in great shape either. So it's going to lead to a lot more distressed properties hitting the market. But you're also going to have a lot of people that still buy them and snap them up, because investors have been able to find good deals in a long time. So, it's a double-edged sword. It's going to lead to a surplus I wouldn't even call it surplus, but an influx of inventory. But it's going to be distressed inventory that that's not going to help your average buyer. Got
it. But it certainly will bring some listings to the market, and it'll alleviate some of it, but not everybody.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you think Gordon County will be the same?
I do. I don't know, Brett, Stephen, and Jeffrey, but I think I would be pulling unowner occupied listings up as fast as I could, and make sure everyone else was aware of this as well, and try to get on their radar if they're looking to cash out or get out of a distressed situation.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Couple other things, and we'll dive into some numbers here. The stock market, U.S. inflation soared in April. So it's starting to create some effects, which, obviously the big news is the gas prices, but there's this data, the 10-year treasury yield. And if you're not familiar, and you don't have to understand all the behind the scenes of how it all works, but this, what they call the 10-year treasury yield, is the one we watch to track what's going to happen to interest rates. So if the treasury yield is rising, that tells us that interest rates are going to start to rise. And it's not necessarily here, I've got it in my watch list here. I'll show you what the graph looks like. It's not necessarily going to go up a percentage or anything like that, but it certainly starts to creep up, and you can see it popping this morning. But if you go back 3 months, we just started a little bit of a hockey stick climb right now. And all that means is be on the lookout. Your lenders are probably going to start to scramble a little bit around locking in rates and things like that. And it's just part of being a real estate agent and knowing your numbers and what that means to buying power and the cost of money. Outside of that, gentlemen, let's dive into some numbers. Okay, so let's go Bartow first. Mr. Melvin, birthday Melvin.
Yes.
All right. So here's what I got. I pulled FMLS stats on April 10th, and we've been talking about kind of also pulling Georgia MLS up in Northwest Georgia because not everything is in MLS. So I've got both.
Great.
What I'm showing as of Monday over the previous 7 days was 39 new listings with a total of about 204 over the last 30 days, which I think that's probably a decent number for you guys in that county. Would you say?
It's getting, but it's you can look back, it's much better.
Yeah.
Because average day on market is 5 days right now. So yeah, they're going quick though.
There you go. So 16 went under contract in the last 7 days, 82 over the last 30 days. I think it'd be fun to say, if I was an experienced agent and I put 2 houses under contract over the last 7 days, I would be quoting my stats saying, hey, an eighth of it, or one out of every 8 contracts in Bartow County, I put under contract or something. You can play with numbers that way, right? Coming soon, 4 is coming soon, not a lot. 43 pending. So I like to look at the relationship between new listings, pendings, and closed. So still, we're putting less signs in the yard than are going under contract or coming out of the yard, which means the inventory is still tightening a little bit. But if you look at 30-day window, we've put 204 new signs in the yard, 179 went under contract, and 182 came out of the yard, which actually says over the last 30 days, you're starting to build a little bit of inventory, 10%. See it? 20 listings over 200. Any comments, Jeffrey?
No, I'm curious. Can you scroll down to the Georgia MLS
Yeah.
stats?
So I didn't see a whole lot different. There was
Okay.
204 in FMLS and 206 in Georgia MLS.
Okay. Yeah.
And there was 182 closed in FMLS and 162 closed in Georgia MLS.
Okay, that's great. Sometimes those statistics are very different. The way people list property up here.
Yeah. It looks like the pendings were different. I got 31 pending and 143 in Georgia MLS. So Georgia MLS in their flash sheets don't give as many of the stats, but they give us the important ones: the new listings, the pendings, the expireds, and the closed. Right?
Yeah, and median price range up here closed is up 51,000 from April of last year. So
it's up 51,000.
Yep.
Which what's the average price?
At 262.
Okay, so that's almost 20%.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Interesting. Big price jumps going on in Bartow County. Anything else on Bartow that we need to know about, Jeffrey?
I mean, those are great to make sure you're taking with you to listing appointments and working with buyer consultations. This isn't just listing appointment stats, letting your buyers know, hey, this is what we're up against.
Yep. what would you do with this information? What are you training your agents to do with this information?
That's my
Um,
next question for Jeffrey. What are 3 points that you could bring to a buyer or seller listing appointment and use out of this data?
I mean, you got to know. You got right at this point. We are week to week on these stats. This isn't like, oh, I can just pull up last quarter stats. You need to be walking in knowing, average days on market, how many days on market. It's going to determine how you price that property, what your plan is moving forward. Um, Letting them know the actual inventory. How many other houses are buyers looking at? Because we're starting to see, if you have more than one listing, you're getting offers from the exact same agents the next week. So if people are just going from house to house to house to house right now up here. So knowing those stats will make a difference and impact on how you price it, how you market it, who you're marketing it to. And then with your buyers, setting that realistic expectation up front. You have to, if not, you're going to wear yourself out. We got to work smarter, not harder in that sense of being upfront and being the expert.
Got it. All right. Let's jump over to Floyd County and Rome area. So I'll start with FMLS. I'm showing 16 new listings coming on the market, and forgive me, I messed up my formula here. I could do it in 5 seconds. There you go. 88 over the last 30 days. And we took 5 under contract or 14 pending. I guess that'd be 19 total. And then 25 closed. So same conversation, only 16 new signs in the FMLS and 25 signs came out of the yard. If I look at Georgia MLS, it tells me a different story.
Yeah.
It says 40 new listings went into the MLS over the last 7 days. 32 went under contract and 31 closed. So this is probably a better story, when you say, Stephen?
Very much so. Yeah. Most of the bigger brokerages here, or not bigger, but main brokerages here don't even use FMLS in any way, shape, or form.
All right. So then we need to be looking at these numbers. So 179 new listings over the last 30 days. Is that a healthy and unhealthy? What's your expertise on that number?
So we're running at about 24% of our normal inventory. Right now, each month, there's supposed to be about between 260 to 275 houses, and we're averaging about 75 to 100. So we're running super light. And what it's led to, there's a lot of transactions that are still getting closed.
Yep.
But signs aren't making it to the yard. They're not even making it listed. It's agents bringing buyers directly saying, hey, look, if you'll sell your house right now, this guy's going to write you an offer above market value, and I'll go help you find another house to buy. And so that's been the strategy that works. We've kind of had to rework the structure of a deal. Instead of finding a buyer to find a house to sell, or instead of finding a buyer and then finding a seller and then helping that seller become the buyer, we're flipping it around to where we find the seller, we take them to find the property they want to buy, they go under contract on that purchase, we list the house that they want to sell, and we close both of them on the same day. And by doing that, we're able to kind of maintain our lead in the area. I'm telling the agents to be aggressive and not to get complacent. A lot of the competition around here, people aren't doing professional photography anymore. They take a couple of shots with their phone and put in the MLS because then they get some offers. But that's the difference between getting 5 offers in 3 days and 29 offers in 3 days, which is happening a lot. We just had to go through 29 offers with a client this morning and help them find which was the best offer for them to take.
Wow.
So you need to know your contracts well enough, because if you don't, somebody who is savvy with the contracts might write you a high offer, but they're going to slip something in there.
Yeah. So room for error is small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about being that skills-based agent, right?
Absolutely.
And as crazy as it sounds, a skills-based agent knows their contracts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why it's funny, but it strikes me as funny, but it is.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other part of it. the number of competition has exceeded. I had my lunch DoorDash to the office today, and the DoorDasher says, I want to become a real estate agent and quit doing DoorDash. I see you guys making a bunch of money right now. Okay, great. You got 5 minutes. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But you have so many people that are getting their licenses that don't realize what it was like in a buyer's market, or, you know, what it was like during the recession. And so the amount of agents in the business has extremely grown. So now you're competing with more people. So
Yeah.
it's not only is there less inventory, but you got more competition, because a brand new agent, as long as they know how to put something in the MLS, they can get it sold in this market. So, you know, you really have to differentiate your value and show how you beat everyone else and how you're different than everyone else. Because everyone can say, I can sell your house fast and for more money. Everyone can say that right now. It's you know, you got to find those key details that make you different and make you stand out and prove your value.
You know, I'm sitting there thinking as you're talking, true competitors love to compete. And like the talented people love the art of the game, the game of the whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And this is that moment in our economic cycle where it's actually a gift and an opportunity all in the same time, because the market is really great, but it's also a competitive market, meaning you better know your contracts, you better know how to position, you better know how to move quickly. And the more you can figure out how to be a listing agent, the bigger you're going to win navigating this whole acute seller's market, right? And but the good news is who you become today will drastically affect how great you become tomorrow. And
Say that again. Say that again.
who you become today will drastically affect how great you'll become tomorrow.
That's good.
And you got to understand that as it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be hard, but it's not going to be easy. And it's a skills-based market. And we'll continue to say that till the cows come home, as they say, right? So it's something you got to double down on and really work on, because we could pop statistics up all day long. And, you know, here's the reality of this situation in Stevens County is 40 opportunities to put a sign in the yard the last 7 days and 31 opportunities to win a bid on a contract. We hope it was you, right? And that's what we want to train, coach, and develop people to succeed inside those numbers. Anything else on your county? You were going to talk about some price appreciation, Stephen.
Yeah, so I was looking at it. Our biggest spike was in last October, but your house here in Floyd County is worth about 40% more right now than it was this time last year.
40%?
40%. If you had a $100,000 house, you could sell it for 130 to 140 right now.
Wow.
So if I have an investor, or I choose to be an investor, it sounds like Northwest Georgia is a great place to be investing. The price point's great, and
it is
great
if you can find it.
It is,
of course. But even if
you can find
pay a
it,
market, if you're paying a market, it's still a great place to invest because the appreciation's going up. Now the real question is what a rental rate's doing, but we can maybe cover that next time. Matt, let's jump up to Gordon County real quick. Same deal. I've got the FMLS stats and then the Georgia MLS. It actually looks like there's more data in FMLS in Gordon County. So they've got 14 new listings that came on the market. 22 went pending and 21 came off the market. What do you make of those, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's just a smaller version of the two counties we just talked about as far as data goes. But as you can see, it's not exactly trending in the same direction Rome was, or Bartow was. I think Bartow was actually at this point maybe opening up a little bit. Gordon looks like it's still headed into a tough seller's market. So
yeah, so it looks like Bartow's starting to build up a little inventory. Gordon looks like they're building up a little inventory too. If you see
Yeah.
98 over the last 30 days and 95 went pending and 77 actually they removed the sign from the yard.
Great.
So there's about 20 listing gap in there, which is about a 20% increase over the last 30 days in inventory, it looks like. So hopefully that's starting to give a little alleviation to our agents that sell in Gordon County. I just wanted to
Sure.
check against Georgia MLS here. We had 82 listings over the last 30 days, 72 pending, and 38 closed out. I'm not sure I trust that 38 number for some reason.
And the Dalton MLS is up there as well. So there's a lot of agents that work in the Dalton MLS, the carpet
Yeah.
capital of the world.
Great.
So there you go. Well, anyway, I think the good news is what we believe to happen is we're at the top of the roller coaster hill. The markets really can't get much more acute than it is right now. And we want it to soften a little bit, meaning more listings on the market, less crazy buyer, 100 offers. It sounds cool and fun, and we like to tell that story. But remember, when you're posting on social media that you presented 30 offers, you're actually turning off other buyers from wanting to get into that game. So, but even though you're touting your success for your sellers. So on one hand, the message to a seller is, hey, look at me. We got them 30 offers on this property. We're amazing listing agents, but you may be turning buyers off from even wanting to get into the game to buy a house.
Mhm.
So choose your poison or your passion wisely, I guess is the right way to say it, right?
Right.
What other comments do we need to know, guys? Enlighten us.
Don't get complacent.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Come on, Matt. No, go on.
I would just say, to tag along with what Stephen mentioned, if you're spending 30, and I'm so proud of you all being here and studying the data, but how much would it do for your business if you spent 30 minutes just looking at the pain points of your sellers and buyers and actually having scripts and practicing that daily, and then going out there and failing forward? That's what we're seeing as people having success, right? And that practice 30 minutes a day to have solutions and scripts in your head can literally make or break you. It can make you thousands of dollars versus being a commission breath agent and having to give away part of your commission to get a listing. If you spend 30 minutes a day just script practicing with your group, which is so great about being at KW, that we have people that think alike and share ideas and will script practice with you. But 30 minutes a day, just going around the pain points of buyers and sellers in this market and how you're going to handle objections will make you money or make or break you in this industry. So.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you summed it all up right there. We're not busy, we're productive.
Mm-hmm.
And that mindset shift of when people ask, how's the market? Oh, everybody's first reaction is, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Oh, it's so busy. No, it's productive.
Yeah.
It's productive. And it's not frantic, it's fascinating. And our mind changing our mindset makes a big difference in our vocabulary.
I like it. Any thoughts, questions, comments on anything industry related in Northwest Georgia?
Wes.
Everything I've got under contract right now is not meeting appraisal. Appraisals are not coming in, and I'm getting comments that from lenders and appraisers that they're getting more conservative because they're afraid of what happened, because they were here in 2007.
Yep.
And they're afraid of what's going to happen. So we have to be very careful on making sure that we have a appraisal gap in there, that when we accept these multiple offers, the one that we get is not the one that can't pay over appraisal. They have to be able to pay over appraisal price.
And make sure your steps are done correctly, that you're leaning on your market center and your business centers when you're getting into the appraisal gap. Please. Not speaking from experience, please.
Yeah. Somebody needs to come up with gap insurance, Wes.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I only have one last thing to say, and I just need to crank it up a bit for Mr. Jeffrey Melvin. There you go, Jeffrey. I
Thanks,
didn't
Brett.
make Steven sing it for you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
better. That's
This
Thank
is
you
much
guys for
better.
joining up for Industry Update.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.